This could be the greatest fighting card of all time. Every fight on this event is a world title of some kind, whether it be an interim titles at the start or just genuine full world titles. And finally, the cream of the crop, the undisputed light heavyweight king will be crowned on February 22nd. Such an exciting event, definitely. So, let's get right into it. The first fight is already very exciting. Zile Zhang, the giant Chinese southpaw, versus Ajit Kabayel, who is a German prospect, undefeated, by the way. So this will be an interesting matchup. Zile Zhang has had a very interesting career. He's had some big names on his radar, currently registering a win previously against the former WBC champion, Deontay Wilder, and he beat him in spectacular fashion. It was crazy. Zile looked like a monster, like a juggernaut, which is kind of funny because he defeated a guy called the Juggernaut twice. So there you go. But he's fighting Kabayel, and I think Kabayel really needed this fight because the problem with Kabayel, he is undefeated, but he has no big names on his portfolio of people he's beaten. He's undefeated, but his last win was probably his biggest name, and that was a man called Frank Sanchez, who people thought would probably beat Ajit, but Ajit got the win. So, he's got to prove now. He's got to keep getting the names and keep up climbing the ranks. But yeah, Ajit really, I think, needed this fight because the guy had really no big names registered other than Frank Sanchez. And I wouldn't say he's a super big name. He's like in the middle. So we'll see where he goes from this fight because whoever wins is the interim champion, which means that they get to challenge the full champion for the right of the fight. So in this case, it could be Usyk unless Usyk decides to retire, which he very might will because he's like late 30s, I believe. So I understand if he would. So it's fair enough. Personally, I think Zile is going to get the win. I think he's too big, and he's got a lot of like interesting fighters. Yes, he might have lost to two of them. The Filip Hrgovic one was very controversial, and then kind of the Joseph Parker one too. But that one, the Filip Hrgovic loss was very controversial. But what I will say is, I think Zile will get the win. He's had more elite fighters in his portfolio and his resume. I think he's just gonna have too much experience against the better guys, and I feel like he will show that against Ajit. Now, I could be wrong. Ajit could pull up an upset, but I think since Ajit's lack of fighting the elite competition, I feel like Zile will get it done. That's what I think. I could be totally wrong though, but we'll see. We will see. The second fight coming up is Josh Boatsi versus Callum Smith, also known as Mundo, for the WBO light heavyweight title. This is actually a very exciting fight too when you do look at the details, okay? Now, I just want to say that Josh Boatsi is a former Olympian, and also he is a 19-0 undefeated British prospect who won the interim belt there in September. And he's obviously wanting to keep that belt, and now he's going to fight in Riyadh. And who he's fighting is a very good opponent, a real test. Callum Smith. Callum Smith is 30-2, but his two losses are against some of the greatest fighters of all time. The first loss was Canelo Alvarez, and the second loss was a knockout from one of the main eventer, Artur Beterbiev. So really, Callum Smith has only ever really lost to the best. That's a fair thing. So you don't knock Callum Smith. He's fought the best in the world. So this is going to be a real test because he's going to want to get back to winning ways against a 19-0 prospect in Josh Boatsi. And he's good. If he wins the WBO interim belt, and he can come back and he can show if he's the best of Britain, a light heavyweight or not. Interesting fight. I think Josh will get the win, but again, it's a 50-50. This is a genuine 50-50. The betting odds are, I believe, minus 160 to plus 200 to Boatsi. So people just barely have Callum Smith as the underdog. So it's an interesting fight. You love a fight that's really 50-50, and you'll notice that this event is stacked with them. Absolutely. The next fight is between Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Israel Madrimov. And this is a very good fight, and I'll tell you why. Virgil Ortiz is the interim WBC super welterweight champion, and he's fighting against a guy that had a very good contest against the top three, at least one of the best boxers in the world, in Terence Crawford. and that is Madrimov. Madrimov, the last time out, lost a unanimous decision to Crawford, but Crawford and that in that fight, he was having trouble with Madrimov, and in the end, like I think it was Crawford putting the stamp on the final two rounds and saying, "I need to win this." That got him the win decisively, but Madrimov put up a fight against one of the top three pound for pound in the world. Okay, Madrimov posed Crawford more problems than the likes of Errol Spence Jr., who was a previous pound for pound top three before Crawford made him look easy. So it's a really interesting fight. Like I said, it is for Virgil's super welterweight WBC welterweight title. So that's interesting, right? I think Madrimov will win. I mean, don't get me wrong. Virgil has the better record, 10-0. So, sorry, 20-0. So 0 losses, whereas Madrimov has won, but it was a close contest against arguably one of the best boxers of all time, at least in this generation. So it's an interesting clash, but I think Madrimov will pose to be very big and strong, because he was a former middleweight champion, WBA middleweight champion, which Crawford took from him. But at the end of the day, he still had a fight with one of the best in the world, and it was a damn good fight. So this is another close contest, but I think Madrimov will get the win. The next fight on the list is, now we're getting into the real stuff, right? The previous 3 fights I mentioned, they're all interim titles. Now we're getting into the full world champion fights. And the one that's leading this parade of champions will be Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz for a middleweight championship of the world. Let me just say, when I say that this card was possibly card of the century in the title and the thumbnail, no, I wasn't kidding. Every fight in this card is an absolute blockbuster 50-50, and this is no exception, okay? Adames is the WBC middleweight champion of the world, and he is 24-1, so 24 wins, 1 loss, and his 1 loss was 5 years ago, 6 years ago nearly, against a guy called Patrick Teixeira in 2019, and he's been undefeated since then. And his challenger is Hamza Shiraz, who is 20-0, so he's undefeated, 20 wins. And this is another great fight. Hamza is known for a lot of power, and I feel like this one will probably not end in the scorecards. It's going to be a crazy fight. I think who do I think is going to win? I think Hamza will. I think he's got far too much. He's just far too good. I think he's skillful, he's slick, but again, it's another fight. You can't just sit and be like, oh, this will definitely happen. You don't know until they get into the ring. It's incredible, though. Yeah, it's an incredible fight. Now, this next fight is very controversial in a way. Shakur Stevenson, the WBC lightweight champion of the world, versus what was meant to be Floyd Schofield, but that got cancelled as the British Boxing Board of Control removed Schofield from the event because he was apparently too ill to fight. And looking into this, not looking into this, but Floyd has made the statement that he was allegedly poisoned.
Oh, hell no!
I doubt that. I think that's a very crazy claim when you consider that Stevenson was the heavy favorite going to this fight. If someone was getting poisoned, it'd be the one who was assumed to be the biggest threat. But Floyd reckons that he got poisoned. I don't know about that one, Chief. But you know what? If he's actually ill, God bless him. Hopefully he recovers. But now it is Shakur Stevenson versus a Josh Padley. No idea who Josh Padley is fully, but he's another lightweight. One thing about Josh Padley, actually, is that he was one of the fights on the Dubois versus Anthony Joshua fight, and he won by decision. That's what I do remember of him, actually. Who knows? He could, if he wins, he'd be probably the biggest underdog in boxing history, besides Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson. But other than that, not really sure what really that fight's going to end. I'm pretty sure Shakur Stevenson will probably make him look pretty good. I mean, the thing with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, for example, is Devin wanted to go in there and try to batter up Ryan. Shakur doesn't care. He just wants to win. He doesn't care what people think. He'll just defend himself. He'll stick to his defense, and he'll break down his opponent with technical skills and his IQ, which he will do. which he will. So Shakur, I think, is going to just beat Josh pretty easily. It's a shame for Shakur, because a statement against Floyd Schofield would have helped him set up the tank fight against Gervonta Davis, But that's not going to happen now because now his opponent's going to be a last minute replacement. It's unfortunate for Shakur, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But now he still gets to have his fight in Riyadh season, but now it's not as big as it could have been because Floyd, he got allegedly sick. Well, it's not allegedly. He clearly did get sick if the Board of Control said he couldn't fight. So it is what it is, right? But yeah, I'd say Shakur wins pretty convincingly. The giant clash between the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois, versus the experienced New Zealander, Joseph Parker, the former champion of the world. Both these absolute powerhouses have been looking incredible recently. Let's talk about the New Zealander, Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is a 35-3 boxer, so that means he's 35 wins, 3 losses, and 22 of his wins come by way of knockout. And he's been looking incredible recently. For example, his win over Deontay Wilder in the Day of Reckoning event in 2023, the 23rd of December. He looked insane. Absolutely insane. He made the former WBC champion look like an amateur. That's how crazy it was. And then he got a win, a slightly controversial, but at the same time, not really. It was like a close fight. He had a close fight against Zhilei Zhang, who would then later go on to knock out Wilder himself in their fight. So yeah, he's an incredible boxer. He's been in incredible shape, and he's been making an incredible comeback because everyone just thought Deontay Wilder would steamroll this guy, and then lo and behold, look who actually got steamrolled. Deontay himself. Incredible, incredible upset. Daniel Dubois, the IBF heavyweight champion of the world. Now, he's been looking incredibly these days too. His last loss came by the undisputed heavyweight king of the world, Alexander Usyk, the Ukrainian king himself. And do you know what? Usyk is in a different level from every other heavyweight. So it is what it is, but he lost by round 9. But ever since that fight, Dubois has been on a killing spree, absolutely. Firstly, he got a vicious win against Big Baby Jarrell Miller, who was, by the way, had a 100 pounds weight difference between him and Dubois. Dubois TKO'd him, technical knockout. And I just want to just emphasize how crazy of a weight difference that is, okay? Every weight class is about 7 to 10 pounds different from each other. Okay, Jarrell, Jarrell, 100 pounds weight difference. He's like a sumo wrestler, man. He's huge. For emphasis, hold a bag of sugar. That's about 2 pounds. Now imagine carrying 50 of those boys at once, and that's the weight difference. Crazy. And Dubois knocked him out. Madness. And then he went ahead and Dubois fought against the absolute boogeyman of the heavyweight division, or at least was considered the boogeyman, Filip Hrgovic, who was very arrogant in the fight, actually. He thought he was going to steamroll through Dubois, make him look easy, because they sparred before, and Hrgovic apparently claimed he made him look easy. Yeah, that didn't last for long. He got knocked out in like the 7th round or something like that. Okay, that was crazy as well. And then the creme de la crop, okay? The creme de la creme, that's what it's called. Creme de la creme, okay? Dubois knocked the hell out of Anthony Joshua, the former undisputed heavyweight king of the world himself. Before he lost to Andy Ruiz, and then he gained it back, and then he lost to Usyk twice, and then Usyk's just been the title holder for ages since. But the former heavyweight champion of the world, and he made him look easy. The only time Dubois was losing that fight against Anthony Joshua was the last 22 seconds before Dubois knocked Anthony Joshua out. That's the only time Anthony Joshua was winning any round. Do you know? And even then, he didn't really win that round. He got a couple of shots in, and they looked like big shots, but Dubois caught him coming in. It was beautiful. It was immaculate. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. And I was fuming. I was going to bet money on Dubois, but I thought, no, the one time I bet, I wouldn't make no money. No, he goddamn wins by knockout. Still fuming about that. I reckon Dubois will win. I don't. You know what? Like, this is a fight I feel like wouldn't go to the scorecards, but it easily could because Joseph Parker has a great endurance to him. The only time he's ever been knocked out was in an 11-round fight against Joe Joyce, which he lost. Which is funny enough, a mutual opponent for that's who Joe Joyce also beat is Daniel Dubois. Fun fact. I think Joe Joyce damaged Daniel Dubois' orbital bone, and well, here we are now. Those two guys have fighting for a title now. Well, Dubois is fighting to defend his. Joshua's looking to become, or Joseph's looking to become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. So yeah, we'll see. It's an interesting fight, but I think Dubois gets it. But I don't know. It could go either way. That's a 50-50 in a nutshell. Every fight's a 50-50 here. There's no one-sided fights, other than Stephen and Schofield. Or was Schofield, but now Padley. That's the only fight. Final fight of the evening, the main event, the super clash, okay, between the light heavyweight kings, Artur Beterbiev and Bivol. Their rematch. Their last fight ended pretty controversially. A lot of people give to Bivol, but it was that close of a fight. I wouldn't have said it was a robbery. Not a robbery at all. A lot of people misuse the word robbery in boxing. They call if their favorite fighter just doesn't win, it's immediately called a robbery. But sometimes close fights shouldn't really be called robberies. It was just a close fight that any person could have won. Do you know, it just so happened that Beterbiev won that night, and I can understand why at the same time. So at the end of the day, yeah, that fight was not a robbery. It was a close contest. And you know what? Now that they're both more experienced, the rematch can only be better. This rematch will be insane to watch. So who's gonna win? I think Bivol. Bivol is the former WBA and Ring Magazine light heavyweight champion of the world, and Artur Beterbiev had basically every other title. I think, I think Bevil's gonna win. I think Bevil's gonna win. He was just so technically clean, but hey, who knows? It's a fight. Artur could possibly get the knockout this time if he's recalibrated enough, but I will say Artur is 40 years old. He's like the oldest champion currently. So who knows how that'll go. But yeah, I think Bivol will win. But that is a top-notch 50-50 fight. Any man could win that. And it's crazy that Artur even did that performance despite having a bad knee. He had knee surgery that year prior, so hats off to Artur, man. But they're both incredible fighters, and that is a fight, like this entire event is the fight card, like it is the greatest fight card of all time, arguably. We might be affected by recency bias, like you might say Muhammad Ali's events are, and Muhammad Ali's events were great, but I just mean in total of all the fights in the card being a world champion or world interim fight, there's no overall card as stacked as this card, I don't think. Personally, I could be totally wrong though. There might be another event, but that is up there as one of the best events of all time. And we will see on Saturday. It's on the 22nd. I'm so excited for this card. I'm so excited. It's going to be great. And that is the video for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe. You know, it really helps the channel out, and I really appreciate it because this stuff takes time. You know, making videos. You know, it's not. You know, even recording some of the stuff can take a while. Then editing. You know, so if you did enjoy watching this, please just like and sub because I would appreciate it. I really would. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I hope you have a great day, and let me know your predictions down below. That would be interesting. But let's see, my full list of predictions will be on screen now, so you can compare them to whatever you have. But yeah, have a good day, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day.